We need to have a conversation about what went down on Friday Night SmackDown about that TLC main event that honestly might have changed the entire landscape of the tag team division in WWE. I need you guys to lock in with me today, because if you were watching that match, then you know, like I know, we witnessed something special. Grab yourself a notepad if you have to. Let's break this thing down together and let's educate the IWC before they start throwing out their half-baked hot takes, okay? So for those of you who somehow missed it, we got an absolute classic on SmackDown Friday night. In the main event, it was a full-on TLC war. I'm talking ladders, I'm talking chairs, I'm talking tables, I'm talking bodies flying around everywhere. And when the dust settled, the Street Profits climbed the ladder and grabbed the tag team titles in what might have been one of the most important TV matches in the last 3 years. But this wasn't really about the winners and the losers. This was about making statements in the world of pro wrestling. This was about elevating an entire division. And honestly, this was about setting a new standard for what SmackDown can be and what it's actually capable of. And tonight, we're going to work through 3 big questions I had coming out of Friday Night SmackDown. First being, we've got to figure out, at this point in wrestling history, are TLC matches now a rite of passage for WWE tag teams? TLC is not just a match anymore. I think it's become a proving ground. If you're a tag team throughout the history of WWE, there is almost like an unwritten law that you're not really solidified until you survive and thrive in a WWE TLC match. We're talking Edge and Christian. We're talking the Hardy Boys. We're talking the Dudley Boys. Those guys didn't just wrestle TLC matches. They built entire legacies around this style of match. And on Friday night, I honestly feel like Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, the Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits stepped into a lineage of the greatest tag teams of all time in WWE history. TLC, to me, is like getting a championship ring in another sport. As far as we talk about the Dan Marinos and the Charles Barkleys, the guys who never won the big one. And to me, if you don't have one of those classic TLC matches on your resume as a tag team wrestler, then you can't go down in that upper echelon category of the greatest tag teams of all time. But I see the doubters. I see the IWC, on the other hand, who have made the argument online already that TLC matches are a cheat code, right? The IWC likes to say, well, they're special, but they're not as rare as they once were, and they seem to be a crutch to elevate tag teams that can't get over organically. I've seen the IWC say that TLC matches don't hold the same value that they did back in the early 2000s, and that this match was really more of a defibrillator for the SmackDown division than it was a rite of passage. But I will tell you, man, after watching Friday night, you can talk to my spine. You can talk to Montez Ford's ribs. That was not just another match. That was not a defibrillator. That was brutal. And those guys laid everything out on the line to prove what the WWE SmackDown Tag Team division can actually be. So the IWC can go fuck themselves. Nothing will ever make them happy if they didn't enjoy that TLC match. But I need to know what you guys think. Is a TLC match a rite of passage, or is it just another checkbox at this point in an era where we label everything classic every week? So the second thing we've got to dive into is how much did this match actually elevate the SmackDown Tag Team division? First, we need to talk about putting some respect on Ciampa and Gargano. Now, I have been fond of this tag team for a long time, and seeing them throw their bodies around the way they did in this match, they have earned the casual fans' respect last night. Welcome to the party, guys. You guys are official. But you know what else? There's something I need to do tonight. There's something I need to say into this microphone that I feel like is rightfully due. I have to stand up and issue a formal apology to the Motor City Machine Guns, okay? I've been disrespectful. I have called them generic. I have called them create a wrestler looking white dudes. I didn't even bother learning these guys' individual names. But after what I saw in that TLC match on Friday night, I was wrong. I was flat out wrong. These guys can go. These guys belong. They are not over the hill. They are absolute monsters in that ring. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, my bad boys. I'm eating my words today. You guys are killers. That match will live rent-free in my head for a very, very long time. I am man enough to admit when I am wrong. Consider this a formal apology from the voice of casual wrestling, but also as an apology from the casual wrestling community in general. Consider us now all paying attention to the Motor City Machine Guns because you boys have earned that respect as of now. And then there's the Street Profits. Welcome back from your long hibernation, boys, because after last night, the Street Profits just catapulted into being the best tag team in all of pro wrestling. Allow me to repeat that statement for the IWC that are not paying attention. The Street Profits are the best tag team in all of pro wrestling. This wasn't just a good match for the Street Profits. This was a career-defining night for both Montez Ford and put some respect on his damn name, Angelo Dawkins. I don't care what division we're talking about. We could be talking about Monday Night Raw. We could be talking about Friday Night SmackDown. We could talk AEW, TNA. Shit, throw New Japan in there. The Street Profits are on top of this mountain alone after Friday night. You can argue if you want to, but I need you guys to tell me right now, who are the top 3 tag teams in the entire wrestling world after Friday night? And let's be honest, if the Street Profits aren't in your top 3, we are going to have a real conversation. But finally, we have to overreact just a little bit right here. Was this the biggest match of the entire month of April? Is this match an early contender for match of the year? Let's talk about it, right? Montez Ford was the MVP of that match, plain and simple. That was a playoff NBA Game 7 level performance. He didn't just fly, he carried. He didn't just survive, he thrived. And you better believe, I have known this for a long time, Montez Ford has been a proud member of the notorious Dirty Dozen stable as one of my top 5 wrestlers to watch on SmackDown. You could thank me now, you could thank me later, but I have stayed true in my resolve through the ups and downs of believing in Montez Ford. And honestly, after last night, he might be climbing even higher up the Dirty Dozen list. And there's a real possibility that he could garner one of those untouchable spots on the list, just like his wife Bianca Belair. MVP level performance from Montez Ford. But how did WWE let this match happen on the Friday Night SmackDown after WrestleMania? This match should have been on the WrestleMania card, no questions asked, and it would have been an instant contender for match of the weekend. You want WrestleMania moments? That match had them. You want fans standing, screaming, crying, replaying spots on Twitter? This match was all of that. Maybe WWE didn't want this match stealing the entire show. Maybe they knew it would overshadow everything else if it was on the WrestleMania card. I've heard the arguments that maybe it needed more time to breathe than what WrestleMania could give to it, but we have to stop treating WrestleMania like it's a kids participation league where everybody gets a ribbon and everybody gets a WrestleMania moment, and let's start stacking the card with bangers like this TLC match. Let's let matches like this live and breathe in the moment of the Immortals. But be real with me, CWC. Would this match not have been the biggest moment of WrestleMania weekend if they would have put that on the card? And was WWE afraid to let it outshine the rest of the weekend and overshine the John Cena's and the Cody Rhodes, even the CM Punks and the Seth Rollins? I think there's a world where this is the best match we saw in the entire month of April. But let's run it back real quick before we wrap this all up, okay? Is TLC a rite of passage for tag teams, or has it lost its magic? Did last night officially launch the Street Profits, the Motor City Machine Guns, and DIY into the top of the tag team division? And is the SmackDown tag team division moved into a new universe in a world by itself in pro wrestling? And are we already looking at a match of the year contender? Can we really write this down and solidify this TLC match as a contender when we get to December and start giving out match of the year awards? We need to remember this moment. Hit up the comments, light up the Discord. I need to hear from you guys, because CWC, if we don't get this conversation right, the IWC is going to overrun the internet and bury one of the best matches we have seen in years. So let's give these boys their flowers